Hey everybody, it's Bust with Battles with Bust number 651. Today we'll be doing battle with Dooley. And so before we dive into our Dooley battle, I wanted to make note, Reynad did a Q&A a little under a week ago. I think he did it on Twitch. You could probably find it on his Twitch channel or on the Bazaar Twitch channel. I found it on Twitter. I was actually returned to Twitter after not looking at it for like 6 months. I was wanting to see if any of the old LOR folks had made the path over to the Bazaar. And I saw Reynad's Q&A on there and watched it. It's like an hour and a half long. It's very, very informative, very good. It's very, very, very clear that Reynad's heart and soul has been put into this game, and it's very clear that he's played it for like 7 years or however long this thing has been in development. Just he's able to speak so clearly and concisely, not only about all the mechanics within the game, but why things function in certain ways and why he believes a certain thing is good and why you're wrong about everything. He always talks in that kind of back in like 2003 2005, and so if you were like playing competitive Magic on the competitive scene, there's always this kind of idea of like pushing the conversation about why a play or why something was good or right or wrong, and Reynad still just like talks in that area of speech, and so it's quite nostalgic to me to hear Reynad talk about how everyone is wrong about everything except him. But the thing that I was found really kind of telling about Reynad's video is he talks a lot about upgrades and how he doesn't think that they should be in the game, and how players coming from Teamfight Tactics or players coming from Hearthstone Battlegrounds really flip their shit when the upgrade mechanic isn't in the game, and to kind of make the transition not easier for them, but I guess a little bit more friendly to what they're used to. He has kept the upgrade mechanic in, and I to me that kind of pivots over to what I kind of think is the major problem, if you will. Now, it's not the right way to put it. Calling it a major problem is way too much hyperbole, but it's the kind of idea that Reynad wants to have in the game is that there's no meta, which is just never going to happen. There's always going to be a meta within the game, especially at the top end of the ladder. But more so beyond there not being a meta, it's just each run feeling unique and different. And how do I make this run with, say, Shield Core Dooley feel different from my next Shield Core Dooley run? Am I going to just be building after and chasing after the same 5 or 6 items, or is something like unique and interesting going to happen that makes me deviate from that plan and makes me chase after a new and interesting build that is a deviation from the norm? And the thing to me, there's a couple of different points that would make that kind of hard to do within the current state of the game and within the current meta. And I recorded a video over the weekend. I intended to make a short on it, but I couldn't talk about it in a minute, and so I had to just go long form and have it just shoved at the beginning of this thing. But I think that this like build here on the screen kind of really showcases um, the problem with a lot of the, if we don't want upgrades, then we need a place to pivot. And if we need a place to pivot, it needs to be with like an item better than what I'm currently doing, right? And so with this build, it's a fairly straightforward Dooley build using rays and the burn core. It's got 3 rays, diamond burn core, gold, burn ray, but then the kind of supplemental piece to the build is going to be using micro Dave. Micro Dave charges on small item use, so that combos back into the usage with the rays, and then the rays scaling him back up is a nice little set of synergies. And so Micro Dave is kind of a pillar of this. To help enhance Micro Dave, we have a small friend theme, and First Aiden being a small item, so small item activating Micro Dave, putting haste on other stuff, so you get faster activations in turn, activating Micro Dave faster, and then Brick Buddy giving us a little bit of longevity. And so we have a couple of places to where we could definitely look to be upgrading here, right? We've found this diamond tier shop. We have 1 gold item and 1 diamond item, so we have 5 items, 6 items just kind of like primed for upgrade, but nothing in this shop feels like it brings anything to the board. You see a diamond glacial ray in the middle. Never going to use that. 7-second cooldown item that freezes for like 4 seconds is just dog shit. You have to be in a super heavy like freeze build with that, and that's going to be the last item in the build. So not super interested in it, but the thing that looks really super interesting here is going to be this fiery laser pistol, right? It seems like it should be right on theme with what we're trying to do. It's a fairly fast activating burn item, so it should work with Micro Dave because it's small. It works with our burn theme, but it's just not better than what we're already doing, right? We can take out in our current build here, we could take out First Aiden and put it in, like that kind of just flat fits in there. Does make the Brick Buddy a little bit weaker, but you could find a replacement for Brick Buddy. That's not like a late game scaling kind of thing in here. But is the fiery laser pistol even anywhere better than First Aiden? And I think it's probably not. It activates almost twice as slow as First Aiden. Having that small amount of burn isn't really enough to make a huge impact, and it doesn't thematically enhance the build as we go on further, right? We could look to have like 6 small items in here. Maybe that kind of pans out or something, but there's no like clear path for this burning laser pistol to actually do anything. And so it's just kind of a lost cause here. The same thing kind of applies to the solar farm at the right. The diamond solar farm should be like a pivotal piece to this build. If you're not familiar with it, it on use hastes 4 of your, or gives like a 4-second haste to all of your items. And then when you burn, the cooldown gets cut down by 2. And so it charges 2 on a burn. So whenever we use Micro Dave, the core, or the orange ray, the solar farm should then get those additional cooldowns. But again, it felt like a space that, we could at some point just like pivot away from the other rays, get the solar farm in here, maybe get 2 small burn items in. Maybe there's even a world to where, if we had 80 some gold, we could get the solar farm and the laser pistol and have them kind of comboing together. But it seems to me like as we enter this diamond shop, as we have these items that are on theme, as we have like this large collection of just bronze and silver items, it should be like a slam dunk. This is an upgrade for me, right? And it doesn't feel like any of these items are here. Like I can kind of half convince myself that Solar Farm is going to be better in this build than Brick Buddy First Aiden. Like it probably is, but that's also a super heavy investment in 48 gold, which is all of our money, and something that is probably better. And so the things that I kind of wanted to drive home in terms of this is it doesn't feel like there's enough power level between each of the tiers. And so what I mean by that is if we look at this laser pistol, excuse me, at bronze damage, it's going to deal like 20. At silver, it's going to deal 40. At gold, it's going to deal 60. And then a diamond, it's going to deal 80. It doesn't feel like there's enough difference between bronze and diamond, or bronze and silver, or bronze and gold to make these upgrade paths really worth it, to say, oh yeah, I want to kind of like move away from this. I want to upgrade away from this thing. And so if we did have just like a small burn weapon out here, right? If we had put any amount of like burn loot upgrades on it, that item would just immediately be better than the laser pistol. Like if you wanted to imagine, say we had a bronze lighter, the 3-second cooldown 1 burn item, and we'd used a +3 burn on it, which is super easy to find. That item is just outright better than what we'll be getting out of this laser pistol. And so I don't know if the issue is entirely in that like the loot items exist in the game and that you can kind of hone in on the item strength early, but there's definitely feels like there needs to be a bigger gap between a bronze tier item and a diamond tier item. Because whenever you pull up these diamond tier items, it feels like this small item should be a slam dunk within this build, in this burning laser pistol, and it's just like questionably not better than a bronze item we already have. And so to me, that's kind of like a piece of the problem. I don't know if things can be, reworked enough at this point to where that kind of gap gets widened and doesn't just completely annihilate the balance of the game. But it's a feels bad moment to me here, in the sense that as we bring this stage of the game up, we find what should be a good pivot point / upgrade point in the diamond tier shop, and there's just a very, very, very limited selection of items that would actually be an upgrade to what we're already doing with bronze items. And so to that end, I think that there's like 2 other kind of interesting spaces. I don't know if I can convince myself that those upgrade points are any better either, in the sense that one of the things that feels like a real build around point to me is the gold tier skills and the things like righty tighty and lefty loosey, to where whichever one is like use your leftmost item, haste something, use your rightmost item, slow something. And that does give you something to potentially build around, right? If you say picked up righty tighty on day 5 of the battle, so that whenever you used your rightmost item, you got to slow something, and then that opens you up to potentially say like using pylon or using other slow type items and really building around it. You found it early enough in the game to where it's not just a uh, augment to your board, right? It's not just like, well, this is never bad and these other skills don't do anything, so I'm just picking the least bad skill, right? Because this is literally never bad, it's always good. But it's not to say it doesn't have build around components. It's just typically too late in the game to find them to when you're able to build around it. And so I'm curious if there isn't some kind of space to make those skills turn up earlier. And so you can find something like sharp corners early, right? That's a very big build around type item for Dooley. Whenever you shield, your weapons get +3 attack damage. If you're able to find it early, maybe you can go like the shield plus weapon combos, go for the Chris Army knife kind of build, if you will. And have the opportunity to deviate away from whatever the base plan is that your particular core on Dooley is doing. And so that's a spot that I thought might have been kind of interesting. The other one that seems like really interesting to me is whenever you go to say like Kev's Armory. I think that's the one that's like health, toughness, and shield items. And then you have that increased chance of finding items that accidentally have shields on it. And so in that video that we were just talking about, to where if we went to a burn item shop, we might have this burn pistol thing show up. I think that there's a lot of opportunity with these kind of things to integrate items that you wouldn't normally do so. And so with this fiery laser pistol, if it was just a regular laser pistol, it would just be immediately ignorable within this build, right? It does have a bit of interesting thought process going into it because it does have burn. And I think that that is something that could bring more of the items into the game. And now I'm not certain if either of those two things just like lock you into a singular build too early, or if they give you like too much power level too early in the game. Like I'm not certain how that kind of thing goes, but I definitely feel like the game right now is in the kind of space as to where the grand idea, the grand scheme of things is that you're supposed to be able to be in the mid game and you find like a really cool item or a really cool skill in the shop, and you're supposed to be able to kind of integrate that into your build, if not fully build around it at that mid game state. But it definitely feels like if you're looking at designing your build from like the bottom down or the top up, I'm not certain which direction which either of them would be. But if you're wanting to say like look at the lizard or the pufferfish build within these patches, to where you don't care how you get there, you don't care too much about the supporting cast other than you having that lizard or you having that pufferfish and then just having a ton of haste items. And so whether that's going top down or bottom up, top down, I don't know, middle out, however you go about it. I'm not certain if those kind of items, push it away from that in a positive way or a negative way. Game design is certainly not my thing, but I could definitely see it one way or another. But it definitely feels like at this stage of the game that, if you're playing Dooley, you're probably looking for the friend core. If you find the friend core, you're probably going to be going lizard. And then there's not a ton of build around stuff outside of the lizard to where you're like, oh, this is like an interesting pivot, right? This is an interesting way to enhance the lizard that's more than just like finding first Aiden and a bunch of other friends. Like I found a different haste item. I found a different poison item, like some kind of different way of integrating them in. And that's where it kind of seems like some of those skills or some of those item enhancements would be interesting, but it's too tough for me to tell. But nonetheless, that's why I couldn't get that in a short that was 14 minutes instead of 1 minute, and so it took me a little bit longer to get through in that sense. But let's dive into Battle with Dooley. I've had some builds over the course of the shorts. If you check our shorts out, not certain when I'll get them out there, but I have like 5 or 6 or 7 9 or 10 win Dooley builds that we'll be putting short set with. I'm hoping that we can't bring some of those forward depending on what core turns up in here. Doing a lot of work with, of course, the friend core and the lizard builds, but also doing stuff with the armored core and the burn core. And so I'm not super interested in the weaponized core. To me, this is kind of the worst one in the game at the moment. I haven't figured out a way to properly build around the weaponized core, and then you tend to have 3 options, and so you're not super incentivized to try and make that work. One thing I have been doing in our videos is using the armored core. As we are in this poison heavy format, one of the things that's very interesting to me is using the armored core with force field. And so as the meta's kind of developed and everybody on day one is like, oh, the lizard is too much, you can't beat the lizard. Now that we're like a weekend, people are kind of like, oh, maybe there are ways to combat the beast. And one of the ways to combat it, to me, is using force field. And so what we mean by this is the lizard doesn't drain down your shields. And so if you're able to scale your shields up faster than your opponent can really get that poison kill in on you, you can just kill them with force field because they didn't interact with your shield abilities. And so the armored core does have some like scaling force fieldies, scaling combat core kind of builds that we can go after, but I think I just want to go with the burn here in this one. It's an interesting concept, interesting mechanic to me. We'll see what we can build off with it. There's a few different paths of burn builds, and they're all pretty interesting to me. So moving forward here, I'm just going to kick things off with the abandoned chest. We want to get to the full board width as fast as we can, so we'll take the level up here, or the experience point, I should say. And then coming into this next round, we can beat the burn boss if he turns up. He did not turn up, so we'll just fight the haunted kimono. We tend to chase after a handful of shield items within this build, and so these shield upgrades could be decent. Ooh, all right though, good stuff. And so one of the things I did want to call out as we wait on this battle to end, if you used to be a daily follower, now you're a 2 or 3 times a week follower, we are coming up on the Christmas season. I think Christmas is outside of the U.S. as well, right? The Europeans have Christmas. Like they have like the fucking Santa Claus hometown in Norway or some shit. So it has to be a thing out there as well. But it really hampers my ability to make content in a time when it's already fairly hampered with this new baby. And so I'll keep trying to churn out the content over the course of the next couple of weeks. My expectations on what I'm able to do is pretty low. It's tough for me when the family comes into town and be like, hey, give me an hour and a half to go record a video, and then a little bit more time to edit it and post it and do all the shit that goes into it, and I'll just be in the basement, go enjoy enjoy family time without the family being here. And so it's tough for me to grind all that out. I'm sure you can understand, and hopefully as the new year rolls around, I'll be able to more consistently get the content count up and the consistency level up in those uploads as well. But continuing on the day, what do we have here? Non-weapon items or bronze tier skills are the ones that are only interesting to me, and I do like chasing after bronze skills with burn. And the thing with that is, if we pick up any of these things that are like +1 burn to all of your burn, it's very big upgrades as to where things like putting +2 attack or +2 shield on all of your stuff don't have that same kind of punch. And so we didn't land on any of them here. Picking up the burn one isn't the best, but not the worst. It's definitely better than nothing. Do like things like net launcher, but we're kind of far away from large items. Now pushing forward, we can upgrade experience, level up going into the next round, but we have to get like a level up item to not just lose the combat. I think I'm kind of okay with this. It's a very greedy approach here, right? We're going to take the experience point, we're going to level up before the enemy combat, but there's a very real chance, and we didn't pick up any items in here either, that we find ourselves in a spot to where we just can't actually deal any damage. And so we'll take the cinders up against Pygmalion here. It's not quite enough to scale up the burn. Right, burn ticks down every half second. We're at 8 with a 6-second cooldown, so we're going to hit for 8. It's going to burn down to 0. We'll hit 8 again. So we're not going to be able to, have it stop at 1 and then tick up to 9, have it stop at 2, tick up to 10. That's not going to be a thing. We're also up against the Jabellian Longbow, which, under the best of circumstances, I don't think we would be beating anyways. And so, I guess that turned out okay. It's getting murdered by that thing. Alright. As the game was meant to be played, make it through round 1, purchase no items, only take only take experience points. And why not continue down that path? I do like the medium items. A lot of the burn build around stuff we're going to be looking for is in the medium item spaces, like torch, I think it's called. It might be like welding mask. I don't quite remember. There's a handful of good ones. We should probably try and dig up something. Fine. I don't have the greed in me to just to just dig directly into those experience points. Loaded just garbage here though. Don't want security camera. Otherwise 2 poison items. Let's roll, see if we get anything better. Micro Dave is serviceable. Don't think we want Armadillo or the Tesla coil though, so we'll skip past that, save up our money. Now I won't skip this one. The Lost Crate is too good. Getting that gold along with the experience point is just too on task for what we're trying to do. We can still fight this little dum-dum and win. It's not a challenge to take down the fly here. Get that CDR. Maybe we land on the good skill in rush. Haste a weapon at round start, fight start, battle start. So, we'll see. Slowly getting to the point where we can stack burn though, right? Once we once we get that additional burn attached to Micro Dave, that scale up from the core, we'll slowly get to the point to where the burn doesn't completely wear itself out. Alright. Victory for Team Bust. GG. Alright, onto the amber for the slows. Not that spectacular. Here, it's like I'm going to go to the ruins and just take the experience point. There's not enough weapons that tie in with burn to make me want to go to weapons. And so, like, at this point, we're going to level up naturally before we get to the next opponent, but that shop is just so bad, I don't really want to deal with it. So now here, we have burn cooldown, which I like, friend cooldown, which we don't need, 1 experience point, or core scaling. And we'll just tack on the core scaling here. Now we can go to small and large items, try and fill out our board before we go to the next battle. And reasonable stuff, right? Duct tape is serviceable. Bomb squad has burn. We can take a roll, see if anything else turns up. Gamma ray don't really want, but it's such a low investment in picking up rays at this point that I think we'll go ahead and take it. So we can get out of there. We're going to have the full board at this point. I do want to get a couple of items out here to the left. I think this is okay. The duct tape activating off of amber and the core itself. Don't think I want to scrap onto duct tape. We're not gonna hang on to it for too long. And then it's like as we're battling Dooley, it's probably not gonna do anything anyways. Right? It's probably like a 50% chance of just being up against a poison Dooley. Oh man, he showed us, huh? He showed us. Alright, well. We're definitely gonna be scaling up the burn at this point, and so I think we're okay. Our burn's gonna scale up way faster than his red ray does. We got these mega slows out here with our duct tape amber combo. So get worked, bro. You got duct tape ambered. Alright, good stuff. So let's see if we can't get a little bit more direction with this day, right? We can come in and just take experience points out of the out of the mountain pass. With this, I think I'm just going to take the guaranteed guide the convoy. I worry that with escort the convoy, our build here is not strong at the moment, and there's definitely battles we can lose. And so I feel okay just taking the guaranteed 2 gold, 1 experience point. Up in the next set, get a burn item sounds okay. There's not really any large burn items that we would want outside of Solar Farm, and I don't think Solar Farm turns up this early, so we'll take the guaranteed useful thing here. Bomb Squad is fine. Up within the next set. The Dabbling Apprentice does have some burn stuff. I think we can win this battle. Otherwise, Rogue Scrapper, not as interested in battling Rogue Scrapper if we're not going to be picking up like shield or attack items. His big perk at this point would be the skills, and then I think Scout Trooper just kills us. And so Dabbling Apprentice is kind of scary. He does load up damage pretty quick. I'm not 100% certain we actually win this round, but picking up those... picking up the burn potions is not that bad, right? He has those 75 attack damage, some amount of burn potions. I think we can win, though. We've leveled up so high, we should have enough stack of health, I think. 400. Maybe we need to be level 4. It's always interesting with this guy. There has to be some kind of way you can organize it to where your damage scales in the appropriate way so he doesn't get the reloads until you've really popped off. Didn't have to worry about it here, but there's maybe something there. And experience points? Sure. There it is. Okay. I've been having such troubles with like my headset these days. Like it's getting to the point to where I might just buy a wireless one. It's like I bought a standing desk, and the thing with standing desks is you need to have like really long cords so that if it's in the seated position they need to be one length. If it's in a standing position they need to be in the other length or a longer length. And so you have to get all these like cord extensions for everything. And this cord extension's gotten kind of fucked up somehow. I think a cat sat on it or something. And so the struggles of bust. my life is so fucking hard out here trying to record YouTube videos and rolling over my cords and unplugging shit. I don't know how to make it through the day. But let's see what we can do. We got an upgrade the core out here. I think I'm fine with that. I see the senders at the end, which is always kind of tempting, but we don't have a lot of direction on what we're doing with burn, right? Are we building over Micro Dave? Are we going to build over Solar Farm? Are we going to build over some like burn enhanced item that we find? We don't know exactly where we're going other than we're doing burn stuff. And so we'll look for it a little bit better. Now with this, not a super strong set in here. There's not a ton of good burn stuff in the curio. So I think we'll just take the small tool, enhance our monies a little bit. Duct tape upgrade is kind of interesting. Let's see what we find up next. I would typically want the skills. We'll almost always get something good out of this, but so much of the burn build around stuff is at medium item, and welding torch is it. I love building around welding torch, and so this is the one that we're going to take. And so let's go ahead and snatch that up. Roll again to see if anything interesting comes in. Welding helmet should be fine here. Can we just outright afford it? Yep. Okay, and so there's the thing to call out that I like to do with this. Like we can move away from Micro Dave for just a moment. Look to get the welding torch in. The welding torch can be our premier kind of build around item. It activates so fast if you have shield, right? While you have shield, it drops down to 2.5 second cooldown. That's easy to drop with haste. It's easy to drop with more cooldown stuff, and so it gives us like a really strong target to just stack all of our burn onto. Because it activates so fast. But, of course, the kicker with it is you need to have shield for it to activate. And so things like duct tape do activate a little bit. Welding helmet activates a little bit. But the big thing that we're going to be looking for is the skill. Dooley has those skills, or their generalist skills, to where at the round start, you get a percentage of shield equal to your max health. So 10%, 20%, 30% shield equal to your max health. That makes the welding torch just activate directly from the beginning of the battle. And then if you are fighting up against one of these lizard dualies that only poisons, they're going to have that shield the entirety of the battle. So the welding torch is going to be double activating the entirety of the battle. And so it gives us something like really strong to look to build towards. It also works with things like Solar Farm, to where Micro Dave starts to fall apart when Solar Farms are a thing. And so I think it's going to be one of the premier burn things to come in and build around. Just we got to figure out how do we keep our shields up, right? So right now it's just duct tape, welding helmet, not a spectacular collection, but it's going to have to do. Let's go ahead and upgrade the duct tape now. Duct tape should be a little more reliable than the welding helmet. We should be getting faster activations out of duct tape than the welding helmet, and so I think that's accurate. I think that's appropriate. I don't know. I'm at least glad that they're kind of staggered, right? If we had the opportunity to gain, like 100 health every second, or 100 shield at the 1 second mark, or 25 shields every quarter second, we would rather have those shields every quarter second, since we would be more likely to just keep the shields up the entirety of the time. Mathematically, Bust is bringing it to you, and so I think that makes sense, right? If your opponent is attacking you every 3 seconds, you would rather have your shield like just getting over smashed and then brought back up sooner, as opposed to just trying to be bigger all at once, right? You would let it get knocked down at first, and then it regenerates a quarter of a second later, and then it just lasts for the next 0.75 seconds until you take the next big hit to where it drops off for a quarter second, to where if it's just stacking up 1 second, 1 second, 1 second, it just comes up, gets blasted, and it's just gone for the rest of the second, right? I think that makes sense. I think that works. Probably fucking wrong. You know where to go for math learning, and it's not here. And so it's not here. Alright, so what do we got up next, though? Monster loot's always pretty free. I think I'm fine to just sell Micro Dave so we can get the expensive loot. If we find burn stuff, great. If we don't, these things are always free. These things need to be fucking fixed or nerfed or something, right? It's just so free at this point. It's just we're getting all of this CDR for free. That cost 8 gold. We're going to get 8 gold back. No complaints here. So with this, I'm not certain the correct order to do this in. I think we take the big one on our welding torch first, and then we do the shrink on everything. We want the welding torch at the lowest CDR possible. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe that multiplicative nature of the mathematics there doesn't matter. Again, asking the wrong person. And so let's move on. I think we can beat Hydro Dude here. The electric eels are kind of annoying with the slows, but we don't have any weapons, so we're not actually dealing damage to ourselves off of the eel activation. Right? Ignition core is not a weapon, welding helmet's not a weapon, welding torch is a tool. Yeah. Taking him down, slowly but surely. Alright, so what do we got now? Burn cooldowns, tool cooldowns, upgrade your leftmost silver tier item, which we could just put on the welding torch, or garbage. And so it's tough in the sense that welding torch is much like the lizard, in the sense that we don't need to upgrade it. The only upgrades that come out of the welding torch, it's going to go from burn 6 to burn 7, which isn't that big of a deal, but we tend to find a lot of ways to upgrade the core, right? The core is the premier upgrade, since it's going to put that scaling on everything else, but I think we can be a little bit greedy and find that other scaling stuff elsewhere, right? Dooley has the medium items that you just sell to upgrade the core, and so I think we'll just take the upgrade like this. So we get 2 burn, right? It goes from burn 6 to burn 8. Nailed it. And I think we'll just take, non-weapon items. I thought that was the weapon merchant. So what do we got? Micro Dave, we're going to skip. Induction Aegis, we do want small burn-based item. We can take a roll after it. We're really looking for the burn ray at this point. Hasn't turned up, but beta ray is going to be fine. Moving up next, we're getting a little bit light on money. I'm not super excited about going after tools, and so we'll go to Finn's Big Bite. We can get the bonus health. We can upgrade all of our shields at this point, because we're going to keep these shields out here for a while. So that looks fine. I'm kind of tempted to just put the freeze ray in over the poison ray. We're not really dealing a bunch of poison damage here. Like to just get it out completely. The question is, would we rather have 2 rays though to help the freeze ray cool down faster? Probably not. Let's just be all in on the burn scaling at this point.
I may be young for a captain, but I've seen my share of storms.
All right, what do we got? Medium item Vanessa. Interesting. It's got a shovel, got a experience chart, and we're out here just getting fucking domed. I was ready to talk trash, but man, we're out here just getting fucked up. I saw her tick down to 1 health as well. She stopped at exactly 1 health before the final burn tick came in. I was like, motherfuck me. I'm ready to just talk so much shit about this build as we're out here losing. Jesus. Alright, though. Silver tier items, what you got? Who's that? Oh, pylon. Not the one we're looking for. The slow an item when you slow haste. I guess we have some things to where you have to kind of half consider it, right? We got duct tape, pylon. Don't think we sold our amber, right? There's a half chance that would potentially be a thing at some point, but I think that's too far away. I had to double check it wasn't solar farm. Now here, a bunch of garbage we don't need. On to the next one. Ooh, level up's what we got. Get a friend, income, core cooldown, burn cooldown, or your core gives 1 burn. Yeah, we'll keep stacking up that. Get that extra burn damages out there. Now we've got this medium item space. I think that's where we go, as opposed to pulling tools from the docks. I don't really want welding helmet. We'll look to get rid of that if we can, but no burn stuff in there. No burn stuff in here. Easy sets of passes into the next set. I don't think the Harkuvian Rocket Trooper has stuff that we want. He's kind of a large item kind of guy, ammo kind of guy. Oh, he does have something. He has haste potion, maybe? Maybe he has haste potion. I don't remember. Rocket boots. That wasn't what I wanted. maybe there's a world where these ammo skills can come in handy. Maybe the crit skills will come in handy, but yeah, the big thing we wanted in here. Keeps landing these nasty crits on us, though. Scary stuff. Alright, what you got? Ammo reloads. Okay, we'll have to keep that in mind. So next set, I do like going to Kev's Armory, finding a shield item attached to burn where it doesn't really belong. Can be pretty big, and so shielded memory card, again, not exactly what we're looking for, but I think there is kind of interesting space for these types of items, right? This is what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, to where, you know, you go to the shop, this random shielded item turns up, we're looking for shielded item stuff in here. Maybe that gives us an item that potentially we would just completely ignore, but now fits within our build because it has that extra attribute attached to it. And so, I don't know, maybe that's too RNG heavy, but it seems like a way to get items that would typically be useless not be useless. I know that I've done this before with like a shielded light bulb, right? Having the standard light bulb just isn't good enough, but having a shielded light bulb in a shield build was actually pretty decent, and so it's one that comes to mind. But what do we got here? Here we go, Omega Ray, exactly what we need. Got to get this burn build around thing happening. Oh, that's looking good. That's looking good. So how do we want to go about this? Not super excited about Bomb Squad at this point. We can just add the Omega Ray in. I'd like to get rid of the welding helmet at some point, right? But I think we aren't there yet. And now, do we want to just add the Gamma Ray in? We have 2 separate ways to gain shield between the welding helmet and the induction Aegis. It's never going to hold, so I'm not super excited about the duct tape anyways. And so getting these, you know, Gamma Ray activations to put burn on everything, not a horrible deal. All right, let's take it up to battle against old Pygmalion here. Let's see what we can do. What is this? Kind of crooking, kind of freezing, kind of beast of burdening? I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude. I'll never be your beast of burden. Rolling Stones right there, fucking nailed it. It reminds me, I I don't know if any of you nerds listen to NPR, but the NPR music station in Kansas City, that's what I listen to in the morning. Like it's just too tough to like micromanage every moment of your life and like wake up in the morning and try and get the playlist on in your car and everything. Like I get so mad whenever I get in my wife's car and it's like you turn on the Bluetooth thing and it still like asks for my contacts every single fucking time. Like the car does not need to download my contacts into the fucking car thing, but the screen comes up every single time. There's no way to not make the screen come up. There's no way to say, don't ask me this ever again. And so literally every single time I get in my wife's car, the Bluetooth connects, it connects to my phone. It asks if it wants to download my contacts. You can't do anything until you get that screen to go away, and you can't make that screen go away forever. And so I fucking hate it. And so in my car, I don't have Bluetooth anyways because I drive a car from like 1985. But it's just like, okay, I found the radio station I like. I turned on the radio, and that's it. That's the end of the day. I don't have to micromanage this anymore. It's like Obama's blue suit, right? Obama had like 2 colors of suits. Obama had to make too many decisions in any given day, and so when it came to Obama's clothing, his choice was either like gray suit or blue suit, and then he didn't wear any other clothes. It was just those two. It's why tan suit was such a fucking outrage, right? There's also Jason Mantzoukas does the same thing. He calls it the Jason Mantzoukas uniform. He just takes it down to one outfit. Jason Mantzoukas has one outfit, and that's all he wears. That's if you watch The League, that's Rafe. If you watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, that is oh man, his name is going to slip. It's like I want to call him like Todd Avocado, and I know that's not fucking right. I think it's some kind of like fruit or vegetable in his name, but fucking hilarious. Love his work. But no, it was coming up because as we were singing Beast of Burden, they did their top 909 albums of all time countdown thing over the course of like the past 2 or 3 weeks, and one of my favorites all time landed in at number 10. It was the Clash's London Calling. Absolutely love the Clash. I've jumped from like the Clash being my favorite band to like Rancid being my favorite band, but that was the one that jumped in and snatched me, and it was great because like they were playing one song from each album, but once they hit the top 10, they just started playing the whole fucking thing. And so it was like I randomly was going to pick up the baby at daycare, and I was like, oh cool, you know, they're playing songs off the London Calling, and then it's like you expect the next song to just be some random shit, and it was just more London Calling, and then it kept going, and like you figured out what was going on. It's like, oh hell's yeah. Like little baby gets his first Joe Strummer experience out here, getting the full taste of London Calling, and it was a nice little moment to share with a 6-month-old. And so that's what the musical moments in my brain from here in recent days. But all right, let's jump back into action. Let's see what we can do here. I'm kind of like tempted to just go ahead and snatch up this chrono barrier. I'm not certain we can afford it, but the enemy cooldowns are increased by 2 seconds is such a spectacularly powerful ability that I'm kind of on board, and it's a pretty strong replacement for both Beta Ray, Gamma Ray. The problems, we need to get up to 32. We got to get 20 gold to get there. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So we get up to 22 with readily available sellable stuff. Yeah, just the only way we would get up to 32 would include selling our welding torch, and so that's a bummer. All right, fine. Fuck off, cat. Got a cat trying to get up in my space up here. Oh, man. All right, so moving on. What do we got? Item value, shield item, poison. Get 4 gold or upgrade silver tier. So we can upgrade our Gamma Ray at silver tier. Looks good to me. Again, we could just wait on the core upgrade stuff to turn up. And now I definitely want to take the skills. I'd love to find this round start gain shield stuff. Doesn't turn up, not going to roll. There's enough things here. When you burn, your items gain 2% crit is pretty good. Half health thing, don't want to use. Not doing poison, not doing large item, and so spend that money. Now within this next set, I can't remember with the Lich if we can win this round. I know it's like a burn base or a freeze based opponent, and so once you get locked down, if you have the burn on them, they just continue to die. Okay, let's give it a shot. Right, he's gonna freeze everything for 2 seconds when we get to half health, but if we can get that burn stack up when he hits at half, us being frozen isn't that big of a deal. It's why I think we can win this. This poison's ticking up pretty quick. We're just going to be getting gold, aren't we? We jumped into this one too early. Is it 300 burn as we're about to die? Oh, it's very close though. One tick away. Damn. At least we got 10 gold out of it, I guess. All right, next set though. We want to stack up more gold at this point, so let's just hit the docks. We can get tools. I think we would prefer tools to shield items. We don't actually want any shield items, so we can skip past it. Next set. Let's just take the 60 health out of the stash. Alright, up against Vanessa. Damn. I've been sick if we got to level up off that Lich round. We can definitely kill him from this point forward, but... damn. Alright, hard to tell what this is actually going to bring forth. The burn's going to stack pretty quick on us. We got a freeze on our orange ray as well, which is kind of annoying. Seems like we're dying. Nope, the burn came through at the end. Stacked up pretty quick. Good to say it was because of all those little shields that we did and all those mathematics we brought forward. Alright, what do we got out of this? Tools. We just have the one tool, right? Yeah. Let's just keep hitting up the docks instead of digging for it. Blowtorch turns up. Interesting. I don't think I want to replace a ray with blowtorch, but I am kind of up for replacing the welding helmet. Next set though, we can fight the mountain pass. Who do we got here? 1 experience, bummer. Burn item cooldown. That's where it's looking. Right. Tool cooldown. 1 EXP. Yeah, burn item stuff. Alright, next set. So there is some cooldown within the Cosmic Rock, but it's not good enough to really chase after. It does have that when you crit haste on a skill, which is quite nice, but I think that we'll just take the experience point out of the Treasure Turtle. Is Treasure Turtle the one that has Volcanic Island? No. I was going to say that would be a nice find as well. But yeah, if you're ever wondering where Bus stands politically, I think the last tangent into music should get you there. Say, oh wow, he well-educated boomer that listens to NPR screams Republican. Oh, and the far as we'll take the political tangent today, I did get to go to the doctor and ask them the question: can we get the baby a fucking polio vaccine before they ban it in 2 months? That was great. Have a disease we almost eradicated from the planet. Some fucking Kennedy wants to bring back. Good job, dude. He reminds me of if you ever watch the show Succession, they have that there's like the 3 sons, right, and the daughter. There's the well-to-do, try hard, trying to impress my dad, Kendall, and then there's Macaulay Culkin's brother. This kind of the family fuck up that has this kind of like coming of age story to where he's not a fuck up, and then they have like the really hippie stoner married to a call girl that eventually gets into politics at the end of the day, and that's exactly what it sounds like. The last Kennedy remaining is done. He's married to the girl from Curb Your Enthusiasm, and it's just like instead of like collecting all of the Kennedy money and then giving him an ambassadorship to like some country that the general populace of the United States doesn't care about, you say, oh boy, you get to be the ambassador to like Macau, right? And you can just go there and gamble and fuck around and not have like a real position. They actually gave this dude a real position, and his first course of action is to come out and ban the polio vaccine. What a fucking fuck up that was. Jesus Christ. And so yeah, that gets you to the point to where it's like, cool, I made a baby. Now I get to take the baby to the doctor and ask him if we can get a polio vaccine before it gets fucking banned, because I don't want my kid to have to live in a fucking iron lung. Oh, wow. But if you do lose faith in politics, which it doesn't take very, very much effort to do, Mitch McConnell actually came out, and it's like one of like the shining lights of having these like geriatric old ass white men as the only people in political power in the United States is Mitch McConnell is fucking old enough to remember when the polio vaccine came out. He was old enough to remember other kids being in iron lungs. He was old enough to remember other kids having their legs all fucked up because they couldn't walk because of polio. They had to get the fucking Forrest Gump legs just to be able to walk and get around. he's old enough to remember that shit happening in real time, and he is like, no, this shit's all fucked up. You don't want iron lungs back again. You don't want to have hospital wards just full of machines pumping oxygen into kids before they fucking die. And I was like, thanks, Mitch. Jesus Christ, the fucking voice of reason coming out here. Oh, fucking A. Get me into politics. I'll teach him how to do math. But all right, let's get this out of the way. The politics will stop. The NPR will stop. The music will stop. But the battles will keep going. So what are we going to pick up here? What are we going to snatch up? Looking at small items. Again, we can pick up some of these rays. We want some burn items to replace the welding helmet with. Let's see how that brings itself about. Nothing in the first pass. Let's take a roll. Did get a burn item in plasma grenade. Don't think we'll use it, but we have the money to just toy around with it just in case. You know, if another really good burn item turns up and we want to replace the welding helmet, maybe it makes the cut. 8-second cooldown? Is that for real? I thought this was like a 4 or 5-second cooldown. Holy fuck. Alright, well. I guess that's not making the cut anytime soon. Anything else going on here? I don't think so. Nothing in the shop. Up against a level 9 2-win Pygmalion. I don't know how scary that's supposed to be, right? It seems like if you're on day 7 with 2 wins, you probably scaled pretty hard and you're on just a big win streak. I think we survive. If his Beast of Burden doesn't have crit. Yeah, it doesn't. We should be okay here. There's a big Beast of Burden hit, but the cooldown's going to be too slow before the burn stacks up. Okay. Got him. I can't remember, like, speaking of the morning show folk on the radio, the last one I kind of remember listening to, she lost her job. They kicked her out of the Kansas City market, and she was like, I remember her going on a tangent one day that she had like purchased a Lambo, and you know, like radio personality is not the fierce money making career you would think it would be, right? She was big enough to where, you know, she had a few dollars in her bank account, but she's certainly not like mega millionaire. It's not like Dua Lipa running around or Taylor Swift running around or something. It's just like small market, you know, radio person. But she'd done well enough to save up the money to buy a Lambo. And she went to like Target or wherever, parks her Lambo at the very back of the parking lot, and like somebody just went out and keyed the shit out of her car. And it was like, what a fucking bummer. What a bummer. She was like, you know, I'm not LeBron James out here with the garage full of Lambos making $1 billion a year because I'm in Space Jam. Like, I'm just barely doing a little better than the average person that saved up for years and years and years to get this thing, and then they just fucking thrashed it. Oh, that's a bummer. That's a bummer. All right, though. Lambo's out of the way as well. I'll get my Lambo one day. What are we going to do here, though? I'm looking to kind of go to the Aerodome and roll for skills. I think this is the stage of the game to where, like, our build's good. It's going to take a lot to change anything within the build, and so we look to just stack in skills. We don't have any of the good burn skills, like the flat burn, the medium item burn, right item burn. None of those things are in here. All exceptionally good. So I'd like to dig for it. I'd like to dig for that round start gain shield skill. And like small burn item just doesn't really cut it in that sense. And so we can take a few rolls, small medium items, slow skills. I think we can skip. We don't have any of the supporting stuff for it to work. Large items don't want, medium items don't really want. I'll take one more roll. This has been a huge amount of money. Sells items, so I guess we have to stop somewhere. Thermo Lance don't really want. Right, when this is hasted, give it burn. We already have enough burn scaling to care about that. Not going to spend any more money on rolls here. We got kind of reamed in terms of what we were really hoping to have happen that round, just not happening whatsoever. But I think we're okay to move forward. Car Conductor, I'm still not entirely certain what's in this experience. I know it does vehicle stuff, which we're not doing. Has like the big slow megaphone and things. I'm just going to go and fight Dr. Health here. See if we can't just pick up the extra experience points. I don't think we ever pivot to the weather machine, right? It does burn 2 on a very fast cooldown with freezes and slows. If you want to post on Reddit, you got to get the weather machine build together, and so maybe that's what's about to come together here. Nope. Just a cog. All right, what do we got? Another mystery event? Diamond items again?
Selling is a sport.
All right, give us that big stuff. What do you got? Friends have multicast. It's definitely worth a ponder, worth a thought. Like, I don't think we're going to be there. We sold our microwave a long time ago. Micro Dave. We only have the one bomb squad. We don't have the bird. We don't have any of this, the other stuff. No, I think we got to skip that. Plasma rifle, though. When you burn, it gets the 75 damage for the fight. I don't know if this is a meme or if this is a real. Just the damage this thing stacks in is undeniably huge. If we get, say, like, on a 8-second cooldown, it's never going to activate twice, right? 16 seconds in, the battle's just going to be done anyways. It should be getting, let's say, like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 activations. We'll just call it 10, right? At the end of the day, it can get 10. That's going to give it plus 750 damage before it pops. Like, without crit, I'm not impressed, but with crit, it could maybe do something. It's just I'm kind of envisioning that we say cut the shield, the like the welding helmet and say gamma ray, and then put in solar farm, and then start having a bunch of hastes coming onto the welding torch. Like, I think that's where we want to be, right? With the welding torch, it's that if we have a shield, it's on essentially a 2-second cooldown. Hasting, it gets it on a 1-second cooldown. I mean, I like hearing that big number, but it's like, as that big number comes together, we can't tie it into the plasma rifle. Okay, let's skip over these. What do we got next? Metronome could be a thing. It does work nicely with the welding torch at this point. Let's at least snatch that one up. Okay. What's up next? We just spent a bunch of money. We'll just take the free item. Okay, and so I'm thinking we just take Gamma Ray out and put Metronome in. Keep our welding helmet and welding torch just zapping, doing the big time stuff. Okay. Okay. Like, these should be zapping pretty quick, right? We unfortunately have to wait like the full 2.7 seconds for the shield to come up before we can start hasting the other thing. But again, ideally, if he's going to be in poison mode, he just doesn't break our shields. Of course he freezes our good item, but I think that's a reasonable line of logic. We've only got 22 burn on him at this point, though. I mean, this battle's done. His freeze was too good. Yeah, we really need to find that skill. So what do we got? Loot items, burn items, experience, shields, or tool cooldowns. We'll take the burn again. Burn skills just turned up. Hopefully we'll get something cool out of this. Probably just going to be freeze, but I would like the flat damage. Freeze turns up. When you gain burn, not quite what we're looking for. Leftmost burn gets +4, and then large burn. Yeah, I'm just going to take the freeze. Next set. This is the part where we just start taking a bunch of chocolate bars, I think. We're not going to dig for any weapons. We've got to free up the space in the bag. So I'll just hang on to it if it has burn. Hang on to the rays. Can sell off these ember things. And then we'll just take the cheapos at this point. Okay. Next set. So what do we got? No burn bros. Death Knight Reaper. I think we can beat this guy. Like, we're popping off hard enough now. I think that it's going to be okay. And he attacks really slow. And so we should get the opportunity to start really scaling up this welding torch. And he just gained like a hundy. He's going to get the crack on this 1k health thing and lifesteal it. but oh, I didn't even get that far along. Okay. Shadow Cloak don't want. Oh, upgrade your leftmost. Alright. Where you at, Gamma Ray, Omega Ray, Orange Ray? Get that one up to the max. Come in and take the skills now. So what do we got? Half health burn thing I don't care about. Rightmost burn item has 8. That's perfect, right? Had to double check the reserve shield. It's not the one we want. That's the large item gain shield. Well, maybe it'll turn up, huh? Alright, let's jump in large items and see if Solar Farm turns up. Here it is. Just a different way for us to gain haste that isn't metronome. I think I'm on board with it.
What should I do with it?
So if that's going to be the case, it gets us to doing stuff like this. Where we get the solar farm in. It should be charging super quick. Whenever we burn, it gets those charges. That's going to make the ignition core start scaling up hard as well. Don't need that welding helmet anymore. It's still a bummer with the induction Aegis. Ugh. Or our ways to gain shield, right? We could take out induction Aegis and take out Beta Ray to get the faster acting welding helmet in, but maybe that's the way we have to go. Just to help ensure that we have the shield up. And then if we ever find that shield skill, we can take the welding helmet out. I think that's okay. It's also going to be just be giving us faster activations on the solar farm. That what's it called? The icy ray doesn't do anything in that sense. We don't need a ton of scaling up off the orange burn ray, right? Freeze coming in. We did freeze his lizard right out the gates, and so it's fair. He's getting pretty big poison stacks on us though. Yeah, easily dispatched us. Gotta just get this quick acting welding torch right out the gates. Alright, so what do we got though? Kev's Armory, giving us the shield items. What you got? So, upgrade to welding torch, sure. No complaints there. This other stuff doesn't really play, right? When you gain burn, we're not going to be gaining burn on ourselves, and then force field. Okay, so we can skip that. Now, getting light on money. I think I'd rather just take chocolate bars, get that 50 health at this point. And then, shit. I guess we lost out on a couple of those chocolate bars. It's only 20 health at this point, but it's still kind of sloppy. We can battle the octopus. I'm trying to think that Trash Titan does have good stuff, but he's not as strong unless you're hitting on like a weapon. He has that plus 72 attack on large item skill. So it's like he's very good if you're going combat core, very good if you're going for force field, but he doesn't activate off the solar farm. Alright, nothing exciting out of that one. What do we got? Poison, value, damage, burn cooldown, or core burn. Alright, we'll hit that core. Alright, here come the skills. It's bound to pay off right here, right? I feel it. Nope. So small shields, no. Like Final Flame. This is another spot to where the skills feel very weird in the sense that you get the first one, right? We got the first upgrade. We paid the 12 gold to get the plus 8 to our rightmost item. Now is it worth paying another 12 gold just to get an additional 2 burn? You know, we're getting to the end to where that does start to pay off. We aren't looking for a specific skill, then it probably would be okay, but the scaling just feels off in that sense. What do we got? Damage from core, burn stuff doesn't happening. Rightmost item freeze, so the coolant leak will work here. Getting in this next set, probably just take the free item. We're starting to run out of money again. Alright, looky there. What's that? It's a Dooley. Do we want to just take this welding helmet out? I wasn't happy with that previous round. I don't know if it's just because the freezes landed in a way that didn't feel satisfying or what, but it feels like it's probably just worse than the Aegis. It activates faster. But if it's frozen, it doesn't do anything. And so I'm not certain what the answer is there, right? Just like if you freeze a large item, you're getting 30% of the hexes, where if you freeze a small item, it's so much less. Of course he lands his freeze directly on our only shield item, so we can't get the shields up for our welding torch. All right, I guess. But that's why I was wanting to add in the induction Aegis instead of the welding helmet, right? It just gives you extra targets that aren't the important one. Now we get items with poison. I don't think anything happens too crazy with this. We're just gonna look to put it onto the welding torch. We can, like, if the welding torch doesn't have radiant, I think it's okay. We could put that in. We could consider putting the poison ray back in now that we have an additional target for it. Probably what we'll look to do. Just go ahead and do it. Alright, take the chocolate bars. No need to search for weapons at this point. We had enough space for them. Nailed it. Next set. Mystery event, why not? Pygmalion skills. Not certain anything would ever come out of this. Don't want to loop. We'll just waste the $3 on items we'll never buy. Definitely don't want spices. Yeah, nothing on theme here. Up next, got burn cinders. Good upgrades on onto the welding torch. 8 gold while we're at it. Right. If the Master Alchemist had the haste potion, I'd be interested, but he doesn't. So we'll just continue to fight the veteran octopus. There's no items that we really want out of this, right? We can't come out and use the medium item cooldown thing, but he gives us the most experience points, the most gold out here. I mean, I wonder if we just have enough burn scaling at this point to where we shouldn't even be playing that ray, and we should just put the extra burn item in so that we get the activation onto the solar farm. I bet that's the way we do it.
Listen, markets, just trade boulders.
Go to large items, get the upgrade to solar farm. That's great. Gets it up to gold. 3-second hastes, or 2-second hastes onto our units. Haste items out of Chronos. It's so good if we spike, but there's so many bad things to hit in here. I think we have decent crit. I mean, we have Tracer Fire. When we burn, we get 2% crit, and so let's just roll the dice, I guess. I saw the bomb squad turn up and got so excited. It's not turboed. We had one earlier that we just sold for no reason, so why not pick up another stack? We're getting there. We're getting there. More burns. Okay, yeah, I think I am gonna do that. We'll put the burn stacks still onto the welding torch. I think we just take the ray out. Right, we get 5 burn out of the ignition core. I think that's good enough. I'm kind of leaning on just putting plasma grenade in, picking up that one big slow. Not even that big of a slow. It's only 2 seconds. These items all suck. Like, the blowtorch activates so slow. I can't bring myself to do that nonsense. If it was, I think, lighter on the 3-second cooldown, I'd be fine to add it in, but adding in a 6-second cooldown at this point is so fucking slow. Alright, let's see what happens, though. Up against a Dooley. He's got a big-ass stack of skills in here. Damage coming in. He's got the item activates, everything gains crit chance as well, so not certain how this is going to go. Getting nuked. We're getting nuked is how that one was happening. Alright, GG. And so, tough set, tough go at it. Again, we didn't find the big build-around skill that really makes the welding torch work. And, you know, that does want to kind of like bring me back to our initial statements of how do we feel about these things? Is it too chicken and the egg to add those good skills in early, or does it give us kind of like a build around vector that we hadn't quite seen before? And so I'm not quite certain in this sense. Again, the thing that really helps this welding torch pop off is there is the skill that at round start you gain a percentage health equal, or a percentage shield equal to a percentage of your health. So if you have 10,000 health and a 10% thing, you would get 1,000 shield at the beginning, and that gets your toxic welding torch activating right out the start. And so what you tend to see in so many battles in this patch and in the previous pufferfish patch is if you're just coming out here and you're not activating anything until like the 3 or the 4 second mark, you're just going to get blown up. The opponent probably has a way to insta haste something, and then that gets the chains of everything else happening, and you have to get those haste chains and charge chains happening, or you're just going to fall too far behind, especially in these builds that require scaling. And so that was our main problem point here, is we could never get the toxic welding torch down to this 2-second cooldown, and then that 2-second cooldown just makes everything else pop off, right? We could have got haste on it, which would have dropped down to kind of a 1 second. Every activation on the welding torch would then activate the solar farm, which would then haste everything else, which makes burns happen, which makes the solar farm activate faster, which makes the ignition core activate faster. Like you can see all of these like chains of events that happen, but you have to have the way to get that chain of events started. And the way for us to get that chain of events started is that skill that we keep talking about, or some kind of haste skill that just never turned itself up. And so as we got into these kind of scaling battles, we just got beat up left and right because our items just activated too slow. But otherwise, I think the idea of the build here is still fair. One of the things that we're really looking for in this patch is how do we navigate around all of the poison lizards, and doing stuff with shield is one of the ways that you can navigate around it a little bit, in the sense that we mentioned, say, like force field builds at the very start of the video. If they're not going to drain any of your shields and you're going to get big force field hits in, gives you kind of a vector of attack against those kind of opponents. This build looking to do kind of a similar thing, right? If we can start off with a little bit of shield and assume that they're, never going to break it, or they're just going to very incidentally attack your shield, then we can have an angle of popping off here. And that's what we're looking to do with this one, just that one skill didn't turn up. And so outside of it, I kind of want to reflect back on our initial thoughts and feels of the video in the sense of the 3 separate angles, the sense of, do diamond items and stuff ever turn up to where you can kind of pivot away? We did manage to actually find multiple diamond shops within this one. And, on the one hand, I did see the diamond friends get multicast shop, which is kind of interesting in the sense that is a late game item that you could potentially pivot to and do big things with, but you don't get to see until the later stages of the game. Like that kind of thing seems very healthy. Like I'm not certain if the answer to these things, like the lizard or the pufferfish, is to just make them gold instead of silver, or just even make them diamond so you can't find them until the later stages of the game. Or if that just doesn't really tie into ways to kind of fix what was happening there, in the sense that we went to those diamond shops but didn't see anything on theme that would have improved over anything that we have, right? We're still here at the very end of the battle, and we have a bronze gamma ray and a bronze induction Aegis in our build. Like, why didn't we find anything along the way to improve over those kind of shitty things? And so kind of curious in that sense. But, it was also interesting in that, we never saw any skills that would have given us like a potential pivot either, right? We didn't see any do this, do that kind of things, right? Do A, get B, do X, get Z kind of things. And so I'm curious if their introduction couldn't be interesting as well. But nonetheless, good stuff. I had fun with that. Hope you did too, because that is going to do it for us today. So hope everyone enjoyed the video. Hope you maybe learned a thing or two along the way, and you had a good time watching. This is Bustamee. Thank you for being here.